If you get distracted easily, then these are the 5 supplements that you should take. The very first one was something that I experienced way back in the day where I would constantly go on my phone and I would forget what I was looking up because either I get distracted by something, my intention was to look up something different. If you experience this, let me know in the comments because it was something I was constantly having an issue with. I also was having issues when I would drive down the road. I would get distracted by the outside things I was looking at, and then I'd forget where I was even going in the first place. I'm like, oh boy, I know I need to be looking into something because this is not a good situation. So I did some lab testing to see, okay, what is causing this? Why am I getting distracted so easily? And one of the things that I found that was really deficient for me was my phenylethylamine levels. Now, this is an excitatory neurotransmitter that is specific for helping with focus. So when these levels are low, you could get distracted very easily. And so what I had to supplement was something known as DL-Phenylalanine. Now, DL-Phenylalanine is an amino acid that helps improve phenylethylamine levels. And once I supplemented that, it really got rid of this issue of me going on my phone and not remembering what I was looking up in the first place. I wasn't having those moments. I also wasn't having the moments when I would drive down the road and forget where I was going because I wouldn't get distracted so much. And it's something I've also seen with a lot of my patients and clients when I test for this and see that their levels are low and we supplement DL-Phenylalanine, it does help improve their focus and not being distracted so much. Now, the second supplement you should take is, I found out about this in my early years of college because I would get distracted so easily in class that I couldn't pay attention to my professor. So I was terrible at taking notes. And even if I was working on any kind of projects, I would get distracted so easily. And so I did a lot of research and found out that using a combo of ginkgo biloba and bacopa monnieri can help with this distractibility. And so I decided to supplement at high dose. And I did start noticing that not only I was able to pay attention to my professor and not get distracted so easily, I was able to take better notes because I was able to keep up with all the material that was being fed to me. And the reason why this is happening is because both ginkgo biloba and bacopa monnieri both increase blood flow and circulation to the brain. So it's providing oxygen and nutrients to the brain. And there's been lots of research has shown that these two things not only help with focus, but also with memory retention. The third supplement I have found, not only for myself, but for my patients, is that if you're constantly getting distracted, it's probably because as adults, we also reach a state of being completely burnt out. In fact, right after medical school, I found that I was in that state, getting distracted more than I ever have in my life because I was probably completely burnt out, especially after medical school. I was just drained. And so I had to go to some of my other doctors to figure out what was going on. And sure enough, when they did some lab testing, they looked at my adrenals to see what was going on there. And they found out that my cortisol levels were low and they were plummeted. And when you have low cortisol levels, not only do you have low energy, but it definitely impacts your capacity to be focused and to be able to eliminate distractions. And that means you're more prone to getting distracted more frequently. And this is something I found a lot with my ADHD patients that I work with is that they tend to definitely have low cortisol levels. And so what I supplement in this case for myself when I'm done with my patients is using either adrenal desiccated or something like adrenal bovine. What this does, you use it for only about 3 months and it will help improve your cortisol levels to have that improved energy. When you do that, it will help with also your focus, but able to eliminate a lot of distractions. The thing is, I would have not known to take these specific supplements if I didn't do any lab testing. Same with my patients. They would not know which one specifically to take to help eliminate the distractions. So you should download my ADHD lab protocol guide that I use with all my patients that deal with distractions, ADHD symptoms. So definitely download that in the description below. Now, the fourth supplement that I think everyone should use if you get distracted all the time is something that I also experience in medical school, because when college is one thing, but then when you go into medical school, there's even more material that you have to hunker down and be able to focus and grasp all this material that you're trying to learn. And so I found that it was always a problem when I would go in my apartment and try to study this material, that there's still a lot of distractions at home, whether it's things that are outside, different noises, people interrupting you, whatever it might be. It is very easy to get distracted. And especially with someone like me that has ADHD, it's very easy to get distracted. And so one of my favorite things that I used was rosemary, but not just rosemary, but a rosemary essential oil, because rosemary, just like ginkgo biloba, increases blood flow and circulation oxygen to the brain, providing the nutrients and oxygen that it does need. Not only does it help enhance focus, but it does help you calm down, which I found that was very helpful, but also it does help retain information, which is very beneficial when you're trying to learn something or working on a project. And so typically I would use a diffuser to kind of just breathe the rosemary, or I'd rub it underneath my nose or rub it on my hands to just inhale it, to be able to constantly have that smell and to increase that blood flow and circulation to my brain. Now, the fifth supplement that can really help with distractions is there's many things that can distract us. And I've already mentioned a bunch, but also one that can distract us is if we're in this constant high stress state and therefore can't even focus. And we're just constantly thinking about the things that we're stressed about. And one of the most impactful supplements you can use is L-theanine. Now, the reason I love L-theanine is not only does it help with stress, but it does cross the blood-brain barrier to improve GABA levels, dopamine, and serotonin, which are all vital neurotransmitters to help you be more focused. But also what L-theanine does, it increases alpha brainwave activity. Now, alpha brainwave activity is where you want to be in that state of mind, because not only does it put you in a more calm state, in a relaxed state, but it helps eliminate distractions. It's the best brainwave state that you want to be in if you want to hyper-focus. And L-theanine does improve that. And so these supplements are great, but they aren't very specific to your individual needs. It really does require looking at specific labs that are what is contributing to your distractions, what's contributing to possibly your other ADHD symptoms that you might be experiencing. So you should watch this video next, where I talk about the critical labs that every distracted or person with ADHD should take. So watch this video next.